Memo akwaba bio emfambra Nnawotwi dwumadie so Adom TV fi ha etwa ne ho ewa sempa 94.7 FM. Well, ye babedi nkomo about Bank of Ghana car mo boy in 2022 so mo boka 60.8 billion cedis. Out of a more principal capital, I was around 64 point something billion. Dr. Richmond, a banking consultant, a banner say banking and same power, Benny Wom, Papa, Beboy, and me to me attend send some nasi. Doc, Pacho Macho. Doc, Bibiabo Code.
You are don't be and now swear.
Yankopo Edia Che. Yet as a passer, what to me I join here. Yeah, but doc, na nswansa no yenkwe na enkotie interview bia Yenia George Oyafe ene the director of research of Bank of Ghana Ra Abredu Otu edi ye ba na ene doc a pensem mu yi
Ghana. Very interesting week. Yeah. Yes, we posted our results last Friday. It's generated a lot of attention in the media.
Help me get some understanding here for the layman. I mean, when I talk about profits, when I talk about loss, I look at limited by liability entity. For a Bank of Ghana that is seen as a state institution, where is this whole argument about loss, profits, and all the rest? Help me out, some education in this space.
Well, so we need profits, first and foremost, to run our operations at the Bank of Ghana. And the operations at the Bank of Ghana are very huge, massive operations that we are involved in to ensure that the economy runs well. And also, we need that to deliver on a monetary policy mandate. That mandate is inflation. That mandate requires that we always ensure that there is optimum liquidity in the economy for economic activity so that it doesn't generate inflationary pressures. And in that process, we try to absorb those excess liquidity that we see on the market that can cause economic noise to the fundamentals. Now, that process of withdrawing liquidity from the system costs money. We need to pay interest on these instruments that we take out from the system. It's an expense on our balance sheet item. And therefore, we need income to be doing all these things to ensure stability in the economy. We are a public institutions body, BOG, by the nature of the things we do. It's a public institution, policy body. And therefore, we need resources to be able to do that. So basically, that's what we do.
I get it, because my concern was the fact that per your entity, that's your regulations and your laws allow you to post profit and loss. Because cast back to 2021, you made some profit as I think 1.2 billion Ghana cedis.
But not necessarily 2021, but if you go back all the way through to 2016, 17, I think one of those years, whether it was 2016 or 17, was when we made a loss. No. But since then, we've been making profits every year. The last one was last year. We made about 1.23 billion.
That was 2021,
yeah, 2021, yes.
Well, but that was what I was trying to get the understanding about, the fact that where lies this entity regulating the financial space, and even the bit about making profit, the bit about making loss and all the rest, and whether that could also cloud or affect your mandate in promoting financial stability in the space.
Well, but George, if you look at upstairs, on our balance sheet on the asset side, we do make income from some activities.
Like fines and all the rest.
Well, like fines, but
trading in gold and all the rest and all those
things. Those are part of the story. But we do have reserves offshore. with correspondent banks. We have investments in instruments offshore. We are buying U.S. treasuries. We are making income from that side as well. So we do make income, yes, from our activities. And then again, on the downside, we do have liabilities. And at the end of the year, these things do offset each other, and then we end up with either we've made a profit or we've made a loss.
So in the case where you made a profit, does it everything goes to the shareholder being the government?
Well, the law requires that when you make a profit, you need to first distribute these profits. There's a way the distribution is done, and then the rest goes to the government of Ghana.
So in the case where you have made this record loss, what happens? Because that also has an impact on your operations going forward. But just to get the understanding that now that there is a loss, it means that those incomes that should have been distributed, what happened? There wouldn't be any dividend payment. And those are the first things that will happen because of what has happened to your operation in terms of the loss.
So this time there's a loss.
Yeah.
Do we transfer that loss to somebody?
That could be a question that would be asked to someone.
Yeah, but the law talks only about the profit side. The law is silent on what happens when there's a loss. But when there's a loss, well, the central bank will then have to work to rebuild that loss back. We recall in 2016 or 2017 when we made that loss, we quickly built that loss back. Nobody paid attention because probably,
it was not
it was not as huge as what we are seeing today. So there's been a loss. The question is, we just need to put in place strategies and actionable steps to ensure that we recover this loss. George, on the 25th of July, I think the Bank of England posted a statement, and the Bank of England was saying that government will have to give the Bank of England, that is the government of Ghana, the government of the UK, will have to give the central bank, that is the Bank of England, 150 billion pounds sterling. This was the loss that the Bank of England had made on their books in 2022.
Yeah.
Maybe the laws in UK allows such losses to be transferred
to government.
And maybe
you
that
think
is
the same to be applied here in Ghana?
Oh, I don't want to go there. I'm not too conversant with what the law says. I'm only conversant with the positive side when there's a profit.
But Doc, some would argue that,
yes,
aren't we comparing apples and oranges here? In terms of the economy in England, the bank of maybe the Reserve Bank in US and even other markets. Can we even look at our peers? And now that you have posted this loss, Nigeria, Gambia, Ivory Coast, what is the practice there when we try to argue that, listen, other markets like Bank of England and the other developed economies have had this challenge?
Well, but George, the question you need to be asking yourself is, have those countries, our peers, gone through such a humongous domestic debt exchange?
No.
The domestic debt exchange was huge. But George, one thing we knew when the domestic debt exchange was being done was it was potentially taken from people almost about 25 billion Ghana cedis in terms of cash liquidity. This is what the domestic debt exchange was doing to agents in the economy. And maybe that is why we saw all this resistance. It's taking money away from the people. So when you talk about our peers, are they reporting profits? Are they reporting losses? Have they gone through a domestic debt exchange? So each country has its own peculiar economic characteristic. And our characteristic was that this is an economy that was moving, that had debt problems, that had physical challenges, that had to undergo a debt restructuring to secure an IMF program. And this is the result that we had. So a huge domestic debt exchange on the people, and the Bank of Ghana has been part of the domestic debt exchange. What we've done is to act as the last shock absorber for the entire debt exchange. And this is where the last buck stops.
In your normal banking regulations supervising the banks, you often will raise issues about the level of exposure of a bank. Do you think that also the time has come, looking at the laws that you have recorded, the time has come to take a second look at your laws in terms of your exposure to the government of Ghana?
I would have been worried if this level of losses had been persistent or staying on our books for the past 3, 4, 5 years. Then it's worrying. This is a one-off event that we've seen. It's created a negative equity. We need to build back that negative equity into positive territories.
And some will say it could take quite a long time to build back, and that is why the argument about the never again and what is being done, and also the concerns about the level of exposure, because the Bank of Ghana would raise issues about maybe a George Yafe Bank and the exposure to an individual institution. Can the same be applied to the Bank of Ghana, even though you are a lender of last resort for the government of Ghana, that steps should be taken to limit your exposure to financing of government?
To who?
To government.
Well, but George, in this case, what we see is an exposure that dates back as far back as 1992. So all the instruments and the stocks that we are having, these are not stocks that have been generated in a single period, but it predates 1990. It goes as far back as 1992. Let me give you an example. We had toll bonds sitting on our books. We had bonds that were associated with Telecom Malaysia. Okay, at one point in time, there was a deal with Telecom Malaysia. I think Telecom Malaysia wanted to take over Ghana Telecom. I think it did, but it got out within a short period of time. We needed to salvage that situation. There were some bonds that were issued to try to get the Malaysians out of Ghana Telecom. Those bonds were in there, and other bonds were also in there.
All right, Inti, Enoning Komara Abredu Otu, or Director of Research at the Bank of Ghana on a George Weafe Edi. Well, Inti, Niana Opaso Chimwane say debt exchange program no and a day a horn be brina at the buy me catch earlier say almost with any course of debt exchange, you know, omunya 50% haircut on omu principal. Are now standing at 64.5 billion cedis at the time of exchanger a course. No, Dr. Richmond, a Chiahine Abin, or banking sense, a Munti Misano, and ending common to me in church, and to me MTS, in a bear, Cabia, Nayahunia, Ebeka. Doc, Memoir Quababim, what ye or Abradu O2, and church more the buyer, no, who is saying?
Meda sibibre mecha otiefo nyina ene wo mo amohwe die dikai mame na George Yafe ase ene me hu se wo ye obi a wa bi dare wa no so kakra mame mesi me hu meda wase na die dikai meda George Yafe ase George ene George a me hu se die wo kano otiase if you say okay be ma manage a tomre bia obi man in this one no the Ghana compare UK and now George Catherine say you don't compare apples and oranges. Britain for no your friend be quantitative easing time my economy no call say COVID in the buy they supported seriously and it was no wonder that they make the loss dear no dear all cano ukobwa abai abai overdraft 64 billion now our bond 16.1 billion na IMF no by July no mka kire say emra ni kire say memmo abai bosia because emra no wo Bank of Ghana Act kire say 10% of your previous revenue is how much you give to government. But you don't go and give 60 billion when your revenue was 120. Into Omakajira says, we overdraft now, Wamano. Charity by 50%. And only haircut now, or can't. Or didn't know.
Oh, okay. Doc, Mr. International says 50% in the year because of the debt exchange, you know. By idea bank by IMF catch say omonye.
Debt exchange, you know. Debt exchange in the a cover almost 16.1 billion. Bonsa never hono. And treaty it said you treaty bank the idea. Na the amount of much you can see and say. Kobo abambosia emra na aban ho akere no but emra no ma kwan enye nti IMF no buy nti no mbodi bibia betum say efri na ko obia ombeye zero financing untimi mo abambosia kapre anateku nti asem na ho ka no won kirekire mu ye nso so ko mo site ho a wono na kiro beto ho say 64 billion any amount haircut 50% any restructure bond no 16.1 billion no said ye structure obi ade nti wo kan nyina bomu a na kire say wo mu da profit loss no 55 billion nti sana ade nso sanso te de akofa aba no eye mwa a oya wadwen se obebo aban ama aban atimi arane na wan hwe emra esi ni kwan so wonye nti amefo no bae no ana wo hwe buku no wo hwe on report na ewom nti de wo kan no esese ho no wo kire mu ye if you say be one so no na kofa bae ene ye de apem wo ye de pem wi a wo say ye debt testing you know there a cover only 16.1 but IMF for catch them say overdraft na mo de ama bae ne de muntwa 50% ngu ene wo mutwa gu ye nti asem no wo pese wo kire mu a wo kire mu Ghana fo nyina ate ase enye say wo ka brofo say debt testing ne ma ne ba sa debt testing ne nyina ye wa kire yan pensioners kura bia kan ye what you say nti so ko ye bi 16.1 e bi kan wa and dey say nka obefa ne sa ke no mo ye ya anka mo nko loss say dey mo ye na mum accommodation finance na o mo de maban 64 billion and no mo twa 38 billion go ye
okay but doc mamen kan ni a mo ankasa Bank of Ghana dey betu dwa na boa ya na ye ntumi nti ase o say mention wa ha. I'll say that this stock of government instrument has been built over the years. That is okay. So the main reason for this huge loss is the impairment of the holding of marketable government stocks and non-marketable instrument of Ghana, all being held in the books of the Bank of Ghana. This stock of government instrument has been built over the years. In addition, the Bank of Ghana's exposures to cocoa board, which has been built over the years, was also impaired. As we all know, the government of Ghana embarked on both domestic and external debt restructuring. The holdings of government instruments and cocoa board exposures were all part of the perimeter of the debt exchange, whereas all other stakeholders that participated in the domestic debt exchange did not have principal haircut, but rather had new instrument with new tenors and coupon structure. The BOG, which served as a loss absorber to the entire debt exchange program, a key requirement that allowed the government of Ghana to meet the threshold for the approval of the IMF program. As a result, the BOG had taken a 50% principal haircut on the total principal, which stood at 64.5 billion at the time of the exchange. Consequently, BOG had new instrument which extended tenor and significantly reduced coupon. But by applying the full requirement of IFRS 9, this means that from the principal alone, a 50% haircut on the non-marketables amounted to a loss of 32.3 billion. The impairment from the exposure to cocoa board also amounted to 4.7 billion cedis. These three DDEP items, i.e. marketable, non-marketable and cocoa board, accounted for 53.1 billion out of the total loss of 60.8 billion for 2022. In addition to these three items, price exchange rate valuation effect. Okay, so price and exchange rate valuation effect accounted for 5.2 billion of the total loss, whereas interest expense on cost of monetary policy operation accounted for 3.3 billion. Into Weno, the Bank of Ghana were not being truthful to us when they enumerated Wemunyina as being the effect of, a car ya bono.
Yo, Midasi Breeze. mama nkyerɛkyerɛ mu woka aborɔfo no yopo mama so nkyerɛkyerɛ mu ɔka marketable instrument no marketable instrument ni yɛ bonds the no marketable instrument ni yɛ overdraft na ɔmo de ma buy no me yɛnhwɛ ni yie because yɛka marketable instrument and any bonds na wotimi trade no no ɔmo kura 16.4 ɛna overdraft no de ma ba na wo document ni 64.5 billion and no money ama on haircut 50% ama won sunsun so aka say koko bond no kra no de restructure ya minia they wouldn't have gone there because figure na wo kana me so figure na wo me phone so ma hwe ko mu bi wa wo akira wo say marketable instrument 16.4 no marketable instruments, the accommodation of the Ghana government is 64.4. And only a mayan haircut, 50%. Until you know, Omoka, and apply IFRS, no banks no so apply. It just IFRS say losses to be our obeyano, IFRS 9. It will say, shall debt in the good. Shall debt in the good. No one the entire Bank of Ghana for one children say. Woman de ya pege ni nyina de apem won afe baako ukọ banking sector na o man fa ni nyina mapem won nti na meka mre bi say banks ni bi wo ho a afe edi animi ombesan fa losses ni bi but we de o man no IMF na ka kire o say mo fa ni nyina preko pe preko nam ye di ni show e na o ma di ni show e na show no di negative capital aba nti brace asema mechechire Ghana for mu no ene ni nkyerase nyina na machire wo ena oka exchange losses and also ka exchange losses ni there enam so omo currency foreign currency in overseas with Fed and Bank of England so your revaluation ya na currency no say ya na abetia wo na abehito ene ye no kore eno de enturo bi ani when you hold foreign currency with foreign banks and when the currency devalues or depreciate the losses are captured in your balance sheet. Nti niema ni nchichiri mu no is anyhow.
Na okay earlier say Bank of Ghana Emma buying an overdraft, which of course the IMF spoke against. Say nyadianka also here, but that Bank of Ghana say Yenkoma government of Ghana such an overdraft, even though him say a tiamra no.
Would him say a drew 2022 ho baby no. Na yes, kwan when is the idea the modern your body said the be a kwama no kwaje bosia. Near the be 2 year who Ghana ha. Yan kasa hwe economy ni hwe economy ni ye. Nti afinisi ye na yentimi kwama no ne kwaje sika no. Na just wo mani ye need as wo nyina asa. Nti ni efra governor say governor so wa mo ye ndia Omana ye bankrupt. Inti sadia ye boy. And one so said you predators and one hammer so no bone any no so. And no boy almo. Inti a tom rebia, won't mean financial Bank of Ghana. A tom rebia there was swan who they call so on your man on. Ono so count. Inti Bank of Ghana for one and a year. So one man pejan qua Anka Bank of Ghana for more 64 billion. Debbie. Because a BC that all canon. Or can countries be to say UK near de obi any ho akoye debt exchange Georgia ya de o se fabra ya Africa ha any yedikan ewo serious losses on central bank any yedikan u kan literature wo hu no ba bia enti etomre bia mra no a yempese yedi adwuma the Bank of Ghana Act 612 amended 2016-918 explain say 10% of your revenue. Into when your revenue 120, busia yetimi bo 12 billion. But you don't go for 64 billion. And when you do that, you are compromising the position of the Bank of Ghana.
Okay. That didn't be to me a year na yede ensure say Bank of Ghana in this situation again. We are the first ever. Say your central bank, there's losses to this magnitude. That knows it to me.
Brace, when him say yeah, so be free baby be catch the baby chile and near assume. IMF over can say zero financing. Or must sign law, or must sign act and contract, and or man can't job so or man parliament. Niam fan share law no mu be mu say a free neko. Ken will be a more abambusian, abano yen idea, on sika na holding. Brace, my main quote to good book in Luke 14:28. I like that text. Yes, you can be. Or say one the best dia on trusting me no to obey me sia. That's when to me sia yesrew. Because senki ye ya holding any ye ya and can ye ya kofa bani. Until Bank of Ghana person just a discipline in our finances. And I'm very grateful, sir. Yatna wa mo ho ebe kan kire anka ya anka se ye betimi aye no. Yanye. Until a free na kono. Yenko ya my kwan Bank of Ghana okwa governor beka je se me pa cho we de me ye biem mintimi ye nti wo ye wade a mfiti ase no hwe wo ho den na hwe ne obetimi na Grace ade ba ko eye hu e wo de aba no and he say you already know your physical pressures you can't physical already you have problem with our budget. We have a serious problem with our budget. Say oka say aban mebo anka ho a na debt GDP ratio na ye ka no na e ko he nti ya obrodi be say ye de ensa koka abrewaduane ye de ensa koto abrewaduane mu si apo ye mpo ye bedi but ye dia the debt ratio no say ye beba 60% GDP 2027 no one way ye ntimi. If it says also Bank of Ghana, we are talking about capital no you're talking about 50 something billion divided by even 12 a bad exchange rate, you're talking about 4.8 billion. And I tell you, Papa Abredu Cancel or can be Bank of Ghana is not a profitable institution. Profit in a kahone ancillary and yet main business no omonton loans omonton we nkakra wo nyanya treasury bill ho ne ne bonds no omode trade profit. And it is also where retainer na afra say 2020 we dey ma me fa afra say kranya example unya 1.2 we for 1.2 ne divide how many years and now maintain it consistently 1.2 I'm talking about 42 years. It is said the bia no as I say aban etimi koboa wo mo wan koboa wo mo a obi si engrofo pc anya hwe but ma menkyerɛ wo enwoma sua ekunninifo abeka se senye se bank ni ntimi nya dwuma na niema bi a esese wo ye no ewo nipa no kura ani so no emma eya na ye deja na afi so our account wo Federal Reserve our account wo Bank of England se wono yonku munyina mo ye governance na mushi na moka no ka se o de wo company no bank na wo tim no kura wo huni capital enye egu omani nyina ho afi anase emoa oman no nti se nkrofo kan ya no mo wura fi se ewo nsunsun so pi ma oman no nti yese se ye ni bre se e behwe daachi bi no de yakomu ye nkomu biem na ya nhwe ne transe ne yese de musia bo an ye beje ne ehwe ne de di busia ya ho de so a de beba no enya beto ye wie brace.
Okay, interesting. Yenhwe senior and you obviously betumi asiako but just hold on mama na member studio and befa comment bi wa kakra. I'll come back to you. Mesaka Minia Afwakwa or Hainoka Afwakwa, a government spokesperson or studio you have a code here. Okay. Lawyer Alexander Chumberima, member of the NDC National Communications Team. Omba Bemo say Minister for Information there. You have a code here. Anyway, my mention is in fear for so first time ever a BOG and your laws, and this is during the time of war buying.
Could you mamify in Chasson Coma or for any what for you? Now, the constituency, so Obuasi's constituency, former constituency organizer by the Council of Elders chairman, Alaji Sani Mahama, Wadani Ato. Say, or didn't be a constituency chairman, actually, Obuasi Brian Chimana, your Obuasi constituency, no your constituency organizer, or you organizer throughout. Yet, a East and West, so no, also continue as organizer until say, obey Council of Elders, or call penny almost about 70 to 80 years. Obey Council of Elders chairman. Until last week, and Yakupon Atunes Afreno. Tinamia Doma, a Dutchna, and Kremufama name on your bay Adua, na Yakatane Chikra, and until Yamabusia for any constituency in Yako, the constituency executives, chairman, ne party members in ye mo bibia ya ko e wo ade a ya hwe no papa no ye a servant leader and no brand ho ase ye ma esum party no ene Ghana nyina so eye pa ya ko fa ne kra nsi ye
okay so mama ma 7 minutes on this one
so wo hwe Bank of Ghana omo I was an annual auditors report and also omo account omo buy for 2022 ebe to dwa ye hwe some similar losses at Bank of Ghana no enya obeka se eyade a ha dwen eye se ye central bank no ebe ko sa ho ye hia we se mu nyina akodwo sa ho ye hia mu nyina no so the doctor otu ekasa dem se wa chechire mu eye pa wonti ase wo
Dr. Chuahine
sorry any other financial people are almost so take finances as ye pa but in terms of all this no eya na ye refi who say your crisis moment we ka crisis moment like chumo ha obeja tum say COVID-19 e ba ye no there a lot of devastation and e ba we are seeing including Ghana obesre because on person obeja tum say e one of the factors oh that be say I was no say NDC for no say any assessment we about COVID-19 bia no see Ramahama and Shasi so Oxford University na e could be say no ho asem no ogitum say Africa nyina no affect yen but Ghana there onyitum say COVID-19 and Russia Ukraine impasse affected the global order in terms of trade and the financing and the commerce no affected Ghana but yen nyina ogitum say e can ho be and affected Ghana strongly pa there in terms of expenditure so mampanyi e ka say inim kwa be fa so a ye de nipa enkwa nipa owe ni nim kwa be fa so de enkwa be back to life but economy ni dey tip and some say den kra na you bet me share economy no eye no em say these are some of the ravages COVID-19 and the global economic challenges e be to we are seeing now including Ghana na e dey abreye okay Bank of Ghana one thing e be show Dr. Otu Etuahene ayi to mu a e den say okay almost losses as far as pricing any devaluation air concern is about 5.2 billion Ghana cedis ono aja to say in terms of your federal reserves and them no who save you in the foreign currency any them in terms of the devaluation any them na e ba no say cedis dollar parity e ko form a sa losses ni nyina e ba osika so ti say owo dollar e da ho na dollar e say bia e cedi wo na dollar nanka ene over $1 million I think that is about 11.33 million Ghana cedis. Now, 11.33 million Ghana cedis at that na dollar pija could be 15 Ghana cedis per dollar. It's now I jump the same $1 million no. I jump call ABA 15 million. Is it 15 million?
No, you mean if you're transferring or exchange it to Ghana cedis.
Ghana cedis.
Okay, so 1 million becomes 15.
1 million 15. But initially, $11.33 was equivalent to $1 million. It's in okay variance now. Our them now a loss to you because you need to add up. So this car, so and some when you are the equivalent of that money. And Bank of Ghana as the central bank, no. If you see these challenges because of say on a year bank back time or two or no more all the commercial banks no they are all agents or servants of the Bank of Ghana because omunyina individual Bank of Ghana obusika nyina on the kra bibianti how be back e wosika semu a Bank of Ghana e na enya the net effect ne kese pa and even commercial banks na ba obeka say during the NDC time
I forgot my way Adentina more you are quick to cite a COVID-19 so yeah, can something nyoma akobone worth the economy. But na island meboa. Cote d'Ivoire enya COVID nebi. They are very strong as we speak. Omunya mo central bank enya loss in yenye. Burkina Faso, Nigeria, all of those. They all had it. They didn't know the yentis or more ka COVID na ye kakra na ye ka COVID.
Kojo. Question here beside a very good question. Pa say Chima Ghana for you na ti ase. So okay, say compared to the neighboring countries now, Obi are a sovereign state on its own. And Obi are on the economic structure. As far as the Ghana economic structure are concerned, no, a completely different from the economic structure of Cote d'Ivoire. Two, okay Ghana, how we financed COVID-19 impasse na beto we are seeing also now. Yeah, financing the model no. Yeah, the COVID-19 different from Omode.
And we had a lot of support as well.
How much was the support? What close you borders? What close you borders for more than 3 years or 2 years?
No, it wasn't even up to a year.
Land borders. It was more than a year. Check.
Okay, our land borders.
Land borders was more than a
but
year.
it wasn't up to 2 years. No.
It was more than a year.
But it wasn't
3
up to
borders.
2 years. Yeah.
Your land borders.
Well,
We have 3 borders. Air borders, the sea, and the land. So the two are
You see?
and there's only one that you close to one in a year.
You see? Kojo, I don't quite fun to your home and say, you did locally among ourselves as neighboring African countries than say, Yenya, or more full plane, no. Do a full plane, any more Togo, Eco Burkina, Mali, Niger, Eco businesses, no, or more of change one full plane.
And the mini data.
Opa, cross check from you kind of saying. No, and yeah,
Google.
No, Google from the immigration service, any customs for no make sure say the number of people are a land borders, no, echo up and down because say no, and you're too regulated because of the ECOWAS economic integration, you know. Some products are already duty free, and then my name because of the economic integration. The West Africa sub-region has say your common trade. And barriers, no tariffs be on more any tariff regime. The near money be on how they call Nigeria, what they call Benin, what they call Togo, what they call Abidjan, Akwakotonwa. Because of the model, no primary commodities near the tariff free. Ask anybody are into a custom union. Say, Obetia say, and no, intino, and near my Fahono, also pay, and so close to land borders now. Besides, Nigeria for 2 or more border more, no almost almost contain the importation of rice. Effect they buy Ghana so, effect they be mind so West Africa has saying they buy and so because the biggest economy in West Africa, Nigeria, out on the land borders, na enema kasa pre-econom products or more they call it the border check a car the back as pa. And don't say what to about them more than even a year. And I'll talk about them more than a month, land borders more a month. Effect the bro, the returns are and then the net effect of the bro are very huge. Again, COVID buy, you know. Be bring person better, you know. COVID buy, you know. Government workers and public service workers are not more you know. I buy to your mocao. I buy never say because of COVID. You are not working and you have more salary. Entitlement and emolument, you know. I buy at the almost intact. Again, Ebra, sir, and some will say, you know, air Kosowa, my economy, no, economy constricted, you know, government was spending. If I know you be saying, if I'm not buying your car, or they provide all the services need deliverables, yeah, the best some Ghana, I'm a Ghana, nice in your free. Okay. Cote d'Ivoire. Agenda 113 hospitals are, yes, you almost 111 hospitals, no, they are not embarking on such an ambitious project. They are not embarking on such an ambitious project.
Ben Sargent, you've not finished. It's
an ongoing project and project that
exactly,
you are financing.
But you have not, you know, OC canon. It looks as though you are spending already.
We are spending.
No, but what argument, you know, the way you are saying is omunye agenda because we are talking about the loss of laws of Bank of Ghana in year 2022. But your argument is such that as if say Sikaya the year agenda one year 2 years but we haven't.
No. You may mention the impact of the COVID-19. I be ravage economies around the world, including Ghana. And I will cite examples. Cote d'Ivoire, any other neighboring countries now, almost also what I say, you know, went through this COVID challenges, and some of them are doing fairly better than the AIA. And I make sure we say, spending pattern as far as the containment of COVID-19 are concerned. Was different from the pattern which they spent.
But if you bring mortality,
as part of mortality. No, I get one. Say COVID. Say in terms of our health infrastructure, we need to expand it.
Remember, you're talking about expenditure.
I'm coming. I'm coming. Could you expansion of our health infrastructure? Time of COVID by year rent amount for fee a year. Almost anything. Loyal time. Almost
your friend say.
I say like
yeah. In a way,
holding centers. I don't know more technical way they were using. Say you feel say suspected say isolation centers near there no. Say you enough health facilities are. Can be rented private properties near the isolation centers. Certainly no, because we also say the oil area no. You take the person to a health facility.
All right.
All these factors near there.
Upon 2 minutes until they hold on them about you can make your point. Yeah, right. Oh no, but time now pound okay into landed 10 seconds.
We all these are any exchange rate devaluation. They drop in there they affect Bank of Ghana. And together, we share haircut a buy with regards to a domestic debt exchange program. Dr. Ochu, Ajatum say 50% Bank of Ghana say on marketable instrument and non-marketable instrument. On the bonds, no bonds say marketable instrument like he mentioned. this marketable instruments, no, you say government are buying through the Ministry of Finance, no, a new arrangement. Yeah, domestic exchange. And then affect the central bank now, monetary policy and almost securities, no, almost when you the shocker, the ravages now quite hit you. So they have not done anything worse, but we need to build our country together and do things.
Mate, but obise viewer back was a question. You say and then Oba back and Oba answer. But Undminka Troto. Or say, enti one surprise say overhead cost on Kwa na 7 billion Ghana cedi. And the value of Bato Oba Bayano. I am also. What is a Bank of Ghana? Yenya a loss of $60.8 billion. And what is a minority say in future on best subject to some account of BUG to scrutiny. That then you beat me as a country, and I will say yeah. Now a bit prevent you from getting into these levels of losing your Bank of Ghana, losing around 60.8 billion. That's a lot of money.
First of all, Professor Nokasane, who's your friend?
Dr. Richmond,
I think he has done a very good service to the country this morning, and I need to commend him because he has. I think he should be teaching because he's very good. Said it was here breaky and money be down. I mean,
a consultant.
Oh, very well. I mean, money was here, but yeah, but for the ordinary man, no shame we increase to get the understanding. Because no marketable instruments, marketable instruments, as anything. Instrument to tell you back and say, Nadia, what's wrong? So it is very important on what you are breaking down. The ordinary man gets the understanding of those. I mean, those two. It's very good. And among other things, okay, what's seminar. He cited a Bible verse, which I strongly agree with him on Nasmokan and the content of that verse of Okotian. But the question I say, it takes me to that same verse. Abra boy ye bo ene ye nhwe ye ho so emmobra ene ye ne. Kojo we be say no say ba bia ye gina nei no na did we ever anticipate ana obi hu tia wo na so na mpanin say de o twa sa no ya na wonnim se na chiachia ne mum ye di atire ndi eto de ye say ye ba prompt to say afọ ba bia wona mi bra otina tin wachi was a hard ya wachia no cause on de okọ na ni mu hu na chi ti wo di atire na wo prompt no kojo aban na di kan na yen timamufo ne mu institutions and whatever yen na di aban achi ye musi ye ho say ebra na nimma bi ko ba bi yen say ko yenya enipa bi mo mba twi aban ani ba ne ho so ana the answer is capital yes. The NDC side minority adongo atofo senom e kwole on Bank of Ghana secretary adum twama ban nipa otwe ho da reka se okruma was adongo.
Yeah, the Bank of Ghana so mo interest ka bia amfa ban.
What kind of this report ni go?
Omzo one print.
What kind of woman and tell you ma some can infio. You the enquire. You see is that the kind of lifestyle we're living and not the part. Now so me can na ya botto egu ye kan say oh ye kasa do NDC for na continue no propaganda. And then this 4 years, but here I me research and I went on Mohamed's station, Joy News or Joy Online rather. Sorry. She headed Ghana's fiscal policy characterized by overspending, structural
weaknesses,
structurally weak domestic revenue mobilization. Okay. IMF. Overspending. How many times were we calling on this government? So who says he cannot do? The second ones are wasting some of the things that you are wasting the money on, and you're realistic. Just say, Brana will bonnet bonnet, why Sabino see this for the country at the end of propaganda. Mahama can't wear propaganda. Minority parliaments can't wear propaganda. Yet the young poor man, you want the poor man. And only wouldn't Mr. Bank of Ghana some yakin. O show one report my baby are coming. I say, I never come on board Kakasier a year. Currency depreciation. And also Momboka 5.27 was a 3.1 billion.
Exactly. I'll say the currency depreciation and 5.2 billion.
5.2 billion. Exactly. 5.21 billion. There's a 2.7 billion. And any come from currency depreciation. Now me kaisam penimfu edi enimnei kojo. The likes of another don't go for the president. And Dr. Muhammad Buhari and the vice president. Ghana for boss say. On mine, no, I did about yen deserve as a country and as citizens. Any currency depreciation. We deserve something far better than that. and nothing depreciation. And the ubo din chira Ghana for na abusudia na echiwade na wakachire enya depa. Did they see? At the end, see under their leadership, these two gentlemen who were criticizing any form of depreciation to our city, that it was something evil. Yet Ghana phone deserve it, sir. We deserve better, which I strongly said of you. We deserve better. So if we deserve better, is this the better that you are giving us? Better than the nay. I'm about Ghana to cite how much they've lost when it comes to depreciation of our city. Is that the better thing that you promise us? Kodo, Papa Nekasano was a Bank of Ghana essay investing in bonds 16.1 billion. And Emre Dawo or citing correctly at 612. Clearly states say Bank of Ghana making about buying besia. Name who Bob besia na show whoso na Bob besia. Whoso na saying and for so wunya na no ya fi atwa mu no emu ohamu jichemu edu which is 10% pe and na fa buying besia. E mano mane mo so because aban reckless. Aban bobra boni. Aban wo de mo obedi ase no. Enti enfa ntam ojapade na fa maban no nkodi nse no. Bobra pa. Aso de nti. Wunya nipa o maso de no de wani ma obra. Ebi de aso de nti aban beto na nsam tem na to na so na ne da no atam bum je koy. No atam sika tutu de wo fa so ni mo hamu de jemu aduonum 50% de aban be se aban nyi nkodi. Ana no so akodi. Ono so akodi na ne wo se wa boka. But what become because we are lawless. The leadership of Bank of Ghana, they are lawless people. Because you will not disobey your own laws that is governing your institution.
And now can say you disagree with some reasons of Mamano because some reasons from man can say because about Bible say
your call my man I know more from Kocha body Korea and I send a come the Nintendo Korea body. And they are justified. Your tree to Kobokro, call robbery, say, Nayeri, a common dinofia when yes, you can't talk about so that is a justifiable position.
No, but say, no, Bank of Ghana for a cow, I almost say a debt exchange, the one can say, I buy a boy in here. You see, and do was so much and trust. The issues, their problem is not just one issue. Okay.
Unless I did not open and I'm a woman. But that comparative point here, me raising, I just want you to understand that you can't have a justification, any proper justification for any evil that you commit.
Okay.
Anything I'm going to the example. Because what you confront now beside the question of court, and see court police station and the he will get reasons to tell you the end of work. Which the reason is from that judgment. That's how the morality in the bag. Maybe I'm the bag and say, oh, moral and you can come and also what does it? So you may seem to agree with him, but that agreement that you are never may tend to, override the core interest. Legally, no, you cannot steal. It Bank of Ghana cannot tell us, say, your law says don't give more than 10%. You've gone over 50%, or you've gone about 50%, which is 40% more than what you are supposed to give. And that because of say one must certain reasons to associate with it.
Okay. Lawyer hold the mame na ye chat tell. Dr. Joanne but original so mame menko na e o say koje you know results for and then ye try a honko team bra ye buy 10 minutes. Alright, memo akwaba bio na yenna game park for us every National Lotteries Authority and they say audio feeding na to her number say boy 9 any 801 any 8 numbers ni bio 8018 it is a utwa bia no so numbers are e bwana pay edi right but already wrap up mama na
it's a flight na myum no take off say na udum so just a quick one to sum up to the eken na no let me know cuz I do no more to be some of the issues to COVID. You see, I always disagree with any time they mention anything COVID. I'm saying so because under COVID, this government benefited a lot financially. Sika wunya I mean buburuja. Sika bebre. IMF come am 2 billion. Me tell na check it. On the 27th of August 2021, Ministry of Finance reported 1 billion from IMF. And then April 2020, so IMF now so publishing 1 billion on their website issued to government. We come on saying $2 billion. Say go one kwadi we they say I call you percent 3 mewa o ma otu. But the bond marketing kwara international bond marketing kwa sika moje from 2018 to the year 2021 $11 billion ansomo. World Bank am 430 million during COVID time ansomo. Enti mo dey na beso. You have misused and you have been very reckless in managing our economy. And only any so don't attribute any problem to anything COVID. Because you had what it takes to run the country. As you said, they are sustaining themselves today because they were able to put in proper structures a bit more sustainable. Anyway. There's a committee called the Economic Policy Coordinating Committee. This committee more or less a subset of the economic management team. Any part that's a committee. So we didn't the Vice President, the Governor of Bank of Ghana, and the Finance Minister, these three. And a component. So these people are there. And we are struggling today. Now we find him running around. Telling you he wants to become president. How is that possible? How is that possible when we have spearheaded the affairs of our damage and our destruction? You couldn't help us yesterday. You think you can help us tomorrow? And we are going to judge you based on your works and your actions. You said so why more Bank of Ghana paying. Or money was sika, you know Ghana have money.
Now for your Bank of Ghana, you come about me.
And Bank of Ghana and some I'm just letting you understand that we are people who are supposed to have led us to or to manage the things where such a way saying we do be able to do. Because you can't currency the position once a month. Yet me first to one Bank of Ghana. I buy car, but I buy team in 1 month to name man and body in penny be the actual way. And this people haven't helped us. Mom why enter the Bank of Ghana so Ngaboka. Mom went to the second so different what a buy no was says I'm rather combine my Bank of Ghana for no. Wouldn't say shouldn't give them they shouldn't take more than 10% from them. But recklessly you took more than 10%. And recklessly they also gave you more than 10%.
Okay.
And now you have enjoyed at the expense of Bank of Ghana. I'm an IMF say go and recapitalize Bank of Ghana.
Okay. You.
So Central Bank in Ebua. Not at other banks.
About buying or recapitalize them in England, Britain.
And fine,
recapitalizing bank or central banks.
It is because of our recklessness. We have been more reckless than that.
You might end up no argument. And I'm Uguzwa share Nnawotwi Adom or Adom TV, or radio so Asempa 94.7 FM. You be try nearby your bar. You be say wrap up on a Bank of Ghana and some no ansana. Ya cons and some. So number one side back on. Dr. Jahine that's why near Doc. What ye and comma me guess me no more studio at the also watch what now after listening to them and some bang and obebono tofa near to me who kwaya or seeing you to me for so as on mine. Yeboa Central Bank no to me gina nya hoden ehwe sika sem so yi
medawasi pa brace medawasi nyamishao I mean obia betrans no kan COVID ya na se de menia ba ho no kan lawyer no kan ya na me tiase o you can't share Ukraine war and COVID and then me no kasa inflation was Uganda 3.6%.
Hey
your inflation 40 something percent. I don't know how many Africa have it. Nigeria, inflation here 26%. Ivory Coast here 6%. Togo here 8%. And you catch there and say, Hunkwana, Yasi, Yari, and Ababoa. I wanted the many woman yarding. Now, the Baku so woman, lawyer Kaya, as I say a Tias here, and yet NDC for one kind. Tamo Moshas here. Yanu be only a Malacha or Kimpiski. The borrowing were borrowing. I thought it was reckless. And I made a statement that so borrow. One boro ya nya de pa wo betua firi ohinimu wo de ohinimu wi na betua me kan 2018 omo di ma antem ne ade. But the question is that the country belongs to everybody. It is not a political country. It will maybe anama fate politics na yet say o money ye politics mo hwe ne ekoso nkro bia we ye chiri soro wa e ya na mo wira fi omo so no omo di sane me ye adwuma wo be ye o man a ye here ni so man be koso ye can you obi be transfer work Britain bankruptcy. British economy is not going it's not going into drains. Ours have gone into drains, and you people tell us it's recovering. Recovering from where? We are going to head for recession. Let me repeat. If central bank is going to have a problem, banking are having a problem, what says the country? Intimate some politicians, mumienu, aya tom rebia, ye we chire na ye ni mo afa no. Aya muntie ye. Mun pese mutie ye ba kokra. And we dey work academia. Me kaba hade a oye we, o kaba ha oye we, but o man bia no ye the meritocracy. So man we be ye, I want to use the word. The lawyer is there. Man for meritocracy anya dwuma. Na mo the party cronyism. We will come back to the same square one. I'm telling you, countries that Rwanda, they have dealing with meritocracy and not party cronyism. BBI a party, BBI and Papa Joel Ati, the 96-year-old commentator. Asem back on Kanya, me person mumpenyi for more Ghana, what was say? And therefore, going to mean koso because BBI a politics. It told me be a moment professionalism near Juma, moment meritocracy near Juma. Ni can be a money diatem. Mum tum near Nemon Giorgio. Debt exchange, Miniana or Tenas or Kine. Debt exchange, many Odi Kaya, mi boo home conta, November, Muna Miam Contelina.
Yeah.
Me, you know, almost Dr. Tran on yet, or hard guinea, a bit of crowd framing home rame. But me, ye calculations in a wing. And the question I mean, we say, Sankaya, sa calculation, now your friend is stress testing no earlier. Minia, Kadio November. Kenya nisi a better transfer. Bank of Ghana have made losses, so. Look, Yanum be Ohio, Jatu also. The Medru Meni 69. I may buen or man on my buen am yajuma. Until your back can be a Miss Dinyamedi Pama Chow. I beg you in the mercies of God. It told maybe a monk as you ye hamagini. Ye bois amana ye nenchirima. In Chirimaba, or Mabetus or Mano, Namoba Enanka, or Mani Nihua, 1957, 52, and in the Eba Nihua. Send come on to maintenance in your politics. Inti Miss Ramo politicians.
Doc, Medase pass what to me a journey and a pay near Dean come away. A bomb pie saying a bit me a fan of Supem. Na ya bomb my Ghana fan in Tampa. Where a high and our church media or Adom TV, so you try hotel nearby bar, it was not to answer so near. All right, I call about you and Memfambra now our church media, so a high Adom TV. OTO radio, so Asempa 94.7 FM. Well, Lawyer Alexander Trimberima, a member of the NDC's National Communications Team, Inokafwakwa, a government spokesperson, NCB, also a friend to the bar, and also be a lawyer, a friend, lawyer Inokafwakwa, then you have a lawyer Trimberima. I'm going here, which one? October. Yeah, boy, I'm to talk. Anyway, and here wrap it up on BOG for Nkomono. Lawyer Mamisha Simfo, maybe just 3 minutes for you to wrap up on that one. I mean, we need to build a resilient central bank. How do we do it?
See, a bit near First of all, they need to be law compliant.
Okay.
In that, a man that actually Muhammad said, Bomana Motini Munombrano. Momodia, the Mufam, Munimran. Where you can try and go on. And if you think you're quoting Parliament first reading, second reading, debate questions, because they need you to comply with them.
That's a obi from Radeni.
Make it come back. So what I say? It is a what as an institution. Now we have the open, forgetting that there's a law that guides your actions and then inactions are.
Okay.
Then you are not helping the country.
Okay.
And for that reason, some sanctions must be applied.
Mate.
Okay, some sanctions must be applied because if the law tells you that don't give more than 2% of your income, now 20% the brand thinking that they be you have been reckless.
Okay.
And such life, no, say young chua soon no jam and never knows them, but it was not time. So they say, oh, and every Munyaman can as canonical, and every Munyaman can as canonical, but baby, no, and Kubasa recapitalizing about the same pussy, a cast of mining in Akubia and Triesica. Tell something million people in your Bianco 500 describe and Yankan in a boom, and from our still.
Okay.
So they need to be people, the leadership, the governor, because young Bank of Ghana, I maybe to say a juma as a kodo what ye chire and say apun what would not put upon no wouldn't be open. Sana Ghana for and any bank of Ghana Jumano at ye.
Okay.
Wouldn't say one quantity of Juma back home my muha. One budget I insist India 8 million.
You knew come.
Wouldn't they sit prepare their own budget, approve their own budget and go and spend their own budget. Will be in their cost.
Okay.
But see, what Nasa bind the man of here in Ison. And Namasu Binti, yet be a side when the Bank of Ghana. One year scrutinizing now. Why can't we scrutinize you? Why are we allowing you to run a life of your own? In that you and I don't know what is happening in that institution.
Okay.
Name a cabadi and I bet have a catcher say, oh, and I know I create money walk out. Now the first one is who design.
Okay. All right.
We need to know all these things.
Okay.
We can't just allow them to have their own way, be doing their own things at the expense of the ordinary Ghanaian.
Okay.
I'm why.
Yo, Mate. That's it, lawyer. Enoch.
Yeah, could you? That's it.
Also for 2 minutes. Go on for 3 minutes to 2 names.
Could you? That's it. Okay. Okay. The minia lawyer Chum. Eka senior. Eka Bank of Ghana. I think they are doing fairly well. But for COVID. It is but for globalization interdependence, I'm a reason in Arabia Bakwa, Yenino, I watch by Kayanano. And could you rating agencies, no? I'm rating some of the bar, value Ghana, and near my eminent capital market, and Copesica, and implementing capital projects in the idea now. Hey, Fanny Beko. Bank of Ghana to me and share to say or minor embo abra government will get money to spend. Okay. And it's a Bank of Ghana a support to buying now buying the Boa Ghana for my Ghana for super. I think that is the best thing to do. But going forward, no, you compare who to Cote d'Ivoire and the Francophone countries, no. It is not the same. Okay. Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, and Francophone countries, no. Our treasury or France. You don't have a central treasury. Okay. And France and our treasury. What you say? But Ghana, your treasury, one can here, and we manage our own thing, and we develop our own monetary policy near there. And how we compare and contrast with regards to those issues. Again, could you by that I call now? Energy sector, we need a petroleum economist. Energy sector, take a pay agreement in Kwano. Excess capacity in Kwana, over $1 billion. Over $1 billion. And $1 billion. Sometimes we should be patriotic. What you are saying is not patriotic. Okay, he said, "Bonnie, we are 200. I buy you know, also cleaning. Okay, banking sector. Sika, I get to also over 20-something billion Ghana cedis. I buy the cleaning banking sector. I'm not resilient. We share the air cost on the idea. I buy you to papa and na COVID the boy. I buy you to papa and energy crisis. Russia-Ukraine war. The buyer. That I told you so. 1 gallon, 1 liter. I told you say over 24 Ghana cedis per liter. And I told you say. But for good policies, going for oil policy, no. You see, and I buy central bank. No more you see about my basso. Gold reserves. Or who the need where I see build the gold reserves. Okay, UK Treasury, I am strong in Ghana. The quantum of gold, the UK Treasury, no ever. Okay. And the Bank of Ghana, they invest in gold. I know motor gold. Yeah, the gold, oil, no. Now Bank of Ghana also stocking in reserves, no, with gold. And currently, Bank of Ghana, you say, but if I saw what they are in terms of reserve, no, over $1 billion. Over 1 billion. And no, you can't want them. The positives, no, you can't want them. Okay, yo, Mate. These are all the good things. I see a can't buy any Bank of Ghana, but so the government is doing fairly well. Say, yeah, I buy me, and as I COVID, we buy, and this time, not COVID anyhow. And this time, not Russia-Ukraine war, and buy, you know. Yeah, that do so how many years? Over 4 years. Over 4 years, do so. Mate lawyer. But with all this crisis, energy, economy, or my penny now by Guso, Moshe economy, no, said they be a Ghana Libya, Hobertoy. And the first quarter of 2023, you grew by saying over 4.2%. 2023. First quarter, you grew by 4.2%. Over 4.2%. Even
Akisme was a she be quite say about way issue COVID-19 at the area yesika ye accountability on COVID funds no omayo and no auditor general regards to
auditor general mo nya hwe auditor general na ko hwe mbaka tese sika no kwa mo wi adi mo wi sika na dia na initially na ko sika mo cha di mo ga sika na DCMP oh maka mo de mama tie for some come there honorable Bright Asamoah Brefo and chairman anaya very make the unifier minsha there. Okay, kiss me. I'll say, how much cash did Ghana make from COVID? President Akufo-Addo should declare to Ghanaians how much Ghana made from COVID test and other related charges at Kotoka International Airport. Another entry and exit points in Ghana during the COVID-19. Regards to Chairman Nanaya Berima. Okay, grateful. So also with me at Cherewadring. About the growth in the I'm checking.